Hey guys, it's like you're looking at this going, what are we doing? Okay.
I was trying to eat lunch.
All right. So here's the deal. We wanted to pop on here and answer some questions that we saw in the group this past week. And it was dealing primarily with how to price things. Those of you that may not be familiar, of course, I don't know that you would. You would know if you're in this group, but this is part of Amy Howard at Home Finishing Group. And Jean and I have been doing this a long, long time. And part of what we love about our finishing group is the fact that we hope to teach you things. We hope to go over things, not only on teaching you finishes, not only on teaching you best business practices, but our goal is to be able to kind of give you some tips on things that you don't make the same mistakes we did.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the most painful mistakes can be doing a job, getting it done, and realizing you didn't charge enough money. That's depressing.
Losing money is
That's
not
right.
fun.
Oh, you just don't want to do that. So do you want to share really quickly as far as your thought process, what we went through, and then I'll share a little bit of a story.
Okay. There's a couple of ways a lot of ways you can do that. You can have an hourly rate that includes materials, but so many times you don't know what materials you're going to need, and you don't want to have different hourly rates to where it's not only confusing to the customer, but then you get confused.
Right.
So normally we would have just an hourly rate for the labor. Then we would have our material cost, and then material cost plus shipping, because a lot of times you have to order and then you got to pay for shipping. Mm-hmm. And then we would add 10 to 20% to that, because normally you would be getting supplies cheaper than what they could get it for. So you might add a little bit there. Then if there's delivery, well, are you going to pick it up and deliver it? Are you going to have a delivery service do that? So again, you've got to figure out time for that, or to have it's such a night and day experience for us when we were in Memphis. Mm-hmm. Our delivery, we could have two guys pick up something and bring it, and if it was within an hour, it would be $120 for those two people. Mm-hmm. Well, in Florida, it's a whole different ball game. If you can find somebody and you can get them to do it for two people, they usually have a 2 or 3 hour minimum, mm-hmm. and it's $300 to $400 just to go pick something up and bring it to us
and have it delivered,
and then turn around and you got to do the same thing, have it picked up and taken back to your customer.
A pickup truck can pay for itself really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
We've probably had a pickup truck or a van for
30 years.
30 years. And it's funny because so long ago, we couldn't afford to have a nice car in the cargo van. So the cargo van was what we took our kids to school in. And they literally had to ride in the back of the cargo van. Oh, we're going to get in trouble, aren't we, even saying this? So anyway.
I think the statute of limitations.
But the other thing is, as far as as Jean was saying, the hourly rate, to be able to say when you're figuring something, when you're looking at a piece of furniture, you never want to do less than between $100 and $150 an hour.
Depending on what part of the country.
Right. And some
in.
of you may need to be more, because then you also want to be able to do some due diligence, research, go to different online sites and look and see how much that piece is selling for, the scale of it, the cabinet, a similar finish, especially if you're doing like one of our more specialty finishes, milk paints, adding some gilding, striping, that type of thing. Each one of those is going to be an add-on. But on average, you need to look at a piece and think, okay, that's going to take me between 4 and 6 hours. If it's a multi-layer finish, you might want to even double that time. So that way in your mind, you're thinking, okay, well, if it's going to take me 8 hours to do it, and that needs to include taking doors off, cleaning it, moving it around. It's your time, and your time is valuable. Then you want to be able to say 8 hours times $150 an hour. And if you have that, if you're able to say around $150 an hour, usually that can include your supplies. It's good to bank your supplies. We've always talked about this, and this is in some older workshops that we've done as far as setting up a DIY pantry. It's kind of like cooking. When you're cooking, you've got your garlic, you've got your your salt and pepper, your pesto, like all your herbs, everything, your rice, whatever you're going to be working with, you can fix a lot of different dishes. You're working with your studio and creating a space, whether it's in your garage, your she shed, your spare bedroom, where it is that you're doing your work, then that way you've got those tools that you can work with. So charging between $100 to $150 an hour, leaning more towards $150 an hour is good. Now, let me tell you a story. There's always perceived value. If you get a really good deal on a piece of furniture and you know that it has a value that is more expensive than what you paid for it. So you know if it's finished, you know if you put a fabulous finish on it, that you could sell it for $1,400 and you got it for $50. Don't add up. You got a good deal. So take advantage of that and be able to, the perceived value of being able to pay more, and then reverse engineer it. So that way, that could possibly be a piece that you were buying yourself, you were going to do the finish and then resell it. Part of what we were saying, and Jean was sharing about charging the $150 an hour, is if you're doing custom work for somebody else. The other thing is there's perceived value. And years ago when I had done, we were getting ready for market. We were actually doing the design, what was it called in Atlanta?
High Design.
High Design. We were in High Design, and we ran out of time. I wasn't able to get any artwork from a gallery. And so I had Jean go in the wood shop. The guys made me these very large wood board, canvases, but they were from wood, to be able to do a Venetian plaster and a pigment wash on. And I knew it only took me a very short amount of time to do it, probably an hour and a half a piece. Well, I wasn't going to sell them for $250. So there was a perceived value. So I was able to turn around, and I want to say I priced them at like between $1,800 and $2,500. And it only took me like an hour and a half or 2 hours to do. But the perceived value, that when somebody was looking at it and they were going to compare it to something that was in an art gallery, it had that value and they appreciated it more. I didn't even have them for sale, and I wound up selling, I think, 3 pieces of art that particular time. So charge enough. One time, you'll make a mistake one time and you'll realize I didn't charge enough. Oh, and here's the other thing. If you hire someone to work with you, let's say on average, you're going to have to pay between $20 to $24 an hour to have somebody that's really good doing physical labor with you. And if you hire someone, you're going to add them too. So if you're paying $20 or $24 an hour for somebody to help you on a job, to say do some Venetian plaster, some wall finishes, or that maybe comes in and helps you a couple of days a week to be able to do your furniture finishes, add on additional monies, that $100 for that second person, especially if you're doing work on site. And we'll break that down and kind of unpack that in future workshops. But we thought we'd just pop on here just to be able to give you that word. We feel like I'm your mother maker. What are you?
I'm married to the mother maker.
You're the Papa Bear.
I don't know about that.
We love pouring into you, and we know the viability of having a business of rescuing and restoring furniture. It is and will be around for a long, long time. You just have to be able to change the variations of the finishes and the artwork and things that you're going to be doing. Have a great day, everybody.